justice for all. Okay. Next up, taking a look at the meeting minutes from our November meeting. Anybody have any changes or adjustments to the meeting minutes? You see a head shake. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as they are.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say right. Okay. Moving on to financial reports for November. Michelle, take it away.
Thank you, Heidi. Behind tab 2, you will find the financial results for the 11 months ending November 30th. Some good news to kick us off. The Everybody Rides Metro ERM Board of Directors was appointed at the last board meeting on November 23rd. The foundation will help those in need to connect to jobs, medical, and vital services. Funding for the program will begin January 2021 as part of Reinventing Metro. In honor of Veterans Day, November 11th, free rides were offered to the military veterans and active duty personnel. On the same day, Metro launched the program Metro Veterans Program, offering half-price fares to both military veterans and active duty military personnel. We do still have some challenges. CPS returned to 100% virtual learning on November 23rd. At this time, there are no plans to return to in-classroom learning until the middle to late of January 2021. Investment income is expected to remain unfavorable due to lower than anticipated interest rates. SORTA's financial report for the 11 months ending November 30th. Total revenue of $1.8 million was unfavorable to budget by $6,241,000 or 78%. Total expenses of $8.1 million was favorable to budget by $288,000 or 3.4%. The operating deficit for the month before using care funds to balance was $6,374,000. Funds from the CARES Act of $6,374,000 were used to balance the operating results in November and $19,487,000 year to date. The total operating results before balancing with available funds were unfavorable by $5,953,000 for the month and unfavorable $14,857,000 year to date. The estimated sales tax revenue of $7,139,000 was reported as capital revenue for the month and $14,278,000 year to date. The accrued revenue is being used to build the capital reserves needed to cover the capital deficit in later years. The estimated sales tax revenue was provided by the UC Economics Center. Some of the most significant factors driving the results for November was fare revenue was unfavorable to budget by $431,000 or 36%. CPS contract revenue was unfavorable to budget by $408,000 or 60% due to virtual learning on Mondays and CPS's decision to return to 100% virtual learning starting November 23rd. Non-transportation revenue was unfavorable to budget by $63,000 or 38%, primarily due to investment income being unfavorable by $54,000 and advertising income being unfavorable by $24,000. Other contract revenue was unfavorable to budget by $221,000 or 129%. In addition to the impact of ending service for Butler County due to COVID, we had some unfavorable adjustments were recorded in the month of November related to Butler and Warren County's share of the federal funds as part of our annual true-up. Federal subsidies was unfavorable to budget by $385,000 or 37% due to adjustments made from the apportionment share of federal funds for preventive maintenance. This is due to timing. The federal government's fiscal year starts in October, so we use an estimate for budget purposes in the fourth quarter. Those are the financials for the month ending November 30th. Anything so far?
Michelle, do you have what is you guys' plan for the PPP loan forgiveness?
We did not participate in the PPE loan forgiveness. The CARES Act was a separate entity altogether.
Okay.
the COVID-19 impact continues to affect us throughout the 9 month period in November 30th as COVID impacted starting in March. As you'll see, we've had $5.5 million of direct expenses related to COVID. This was everything from the hero pay we paid out over the summer, face masks, sanitation, antibacterial wipes, et cetera, for PPE for our employees. So we'll continue to monitor our costs. We have budgeted that for 2021 as well. Any questions on the November financials?
Okay, thank you, Michelle. We have a bunch of action items this morning. The first is the investment of funds report as of November 30th.
Thank you, Heidi. As of November 30th, SORTA's cash and investment balance was $41,102,958, yielding a return of 16 basis points and average days of maturity of 34 days. The investment income for the month of October was $5,455 and $170,541 year to date. The decrease in cash from October to November of $3,065,401 was mostly due to the timing of the sales tax receipts, which was accrued for in November but will not be received until February. 2 OPERS payments were also made in October and benefits funding offset by grants received and fuel hedging. Any questions on the investment of funds report?
I do not. Does anybody else have questions? Okay. There are no questions. I would like to make a motion to approve the investment of funds report for November 30th.
Okay.
Thanks, Rod. It's been approved or motioned and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Say right. Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to the next action item, which is a proposed resolution for the approval of the 2021 budget. Michelle.
Thank you, Heidi. Behind tab 4, you will find the 2021 budget. Staff is seeking approval of the 2021 operating and capital plan budget of $155,742,000. Staff has prepared a transit operating capital plan for 2021, of which $121,509,000 is for operating and $34,233,000 is for capital, which requires funding from the estimated Hamilton County sales tax funds of $92,537,000. Of the $34,233,000 for the capital budget, $14,678,000 that will be funded from various grants already awarded. The remaining $19,555,000 will be funded from a combination of the estimated Hamilton County sales tax funds received in 2021, as well as the City of Cincinnati Transit Funds as well. So a quick overview of the agenda. We'll start off with some good news and highlights for 2020. Then we'll discuss some challenges and opportunities that we'll face in 2021. We'll then move on to our budget assumptions and the 2021 operating budget, and finally our capital budget for 2021 through 2025. Starting off with some good news. 2020, although we had lots of challenges, we also had some great news that have benefited us immensely. SORTA was awarded federal and state grants to assist with paying for a significant portion of bus purchases through 2023. The CARES funds were awarded and covered some of our operating expenses in 2020. We successfully relocated the administrative offices from the Gwynn building to the Huntington building in April of 2020 amid the start of the statewide stay-at-home order. On On May 14th, SORTA made history with the passing of the sales tax levy, which enables us to kick off the Reinventing Metro plan in 2021. 19 new buses were put into service in September of 2020. 10 additional buses are expected to arrive later this month and will be put into service early next year. And the Northside Transit Center opened in October of 2020. As I mentioned, we definitely had some challenges. Although there have been some recent announcements of a vaccine, COVID will continue to impact SORTA in many ways. Most significantly, it will continue to negatively impact ridership and fare revenue, as well as the sales tax levy revenue in 2021. We also expect to continue to incur additional costs for PPE to keep our customers and our employees all safe. In September, the board authorized that SORTA hold public meetings for fare changes, i.e. the fare simplification project, that will make the bus system easier to use. SORTA will be holding public meetings and taking comments about the proposed changes and are expected to bring the final recommendations to the board in January of 2021 for implementation in March 2021. And the rollout of the Reinventing Metro plan will begin mid-year with continued focus on increasing frequency, span, and service area while reducing trip times for our customers. Some of our operating budget assumptions. The sales tax levy, Metro portion of the sales tax levy was estimated based on data provided by the county and UC Economics Center. Reinventing Metro, the revenue and cost of providing the new service, currently estimated to begin in the third quarter of 2021. This is reflected in the 21 budget and 2022 projection. Vacancy rate is estimated to be 10%. Medical costs, 7% increase compared to the 2020 budget. And the strategic plan, operating and capital costs are all included in the 2021 budget and 2022 projections. As I mentioned previously, we are proposing an operating budget of $121,509,000 for 2021, which is an increase of 19% from the 2020 budget of $101,977,000. Looking at the revenue first, Metro fares, we are anticipating a 17% decrease from the 2020 budget for Metro fares from $15,654,000 to $12,995,000 for 2021, and a 37% decrease for access fares from $964,000 to $611,000 for 2021. As you can see from the projected ridership at the top, we anticipate that ridership will continue to be down approximately 16% in total for the year as a whole from the 2020 budget. We expect that ridership will gradually increase through the year as the vaccine rolls out, people return to the office, and as we roll out the additional service for Reinventing Metro in the second half of the year. CPS contract revenue.
Hey, Michelle, can I ask a question there?
Sure can.
Hi, this is Craig. Sorry I'm late.
Right.
So this is versus budget on ridership. So this is actually, it's an increase over this year, fairly substantially, right?
Increase over this year's actuals, yes.
And so,
The
right,
decrease from 2020 budget.
right. But so if we're looking at kind of like 40% down still this month, right? This would be a 25 or 30% increase.
Correct. And we are looking at ridership slow gradually returning at the first part of the year, and then with the implementation of Reinventing Metro, adding the additional service, scope, and span, the second half of the year, we expect the ridership to pick back up at that time.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions on the ridership or Metro revenue? CPS contract revenue increasing by 2% from $7,068,000 in the 2020 budget to $7,201,000 in the 2021 budget, as we have made an assumption that CPS would return to full schedule for in-person learning. Obviously, we will keep an eye on this as Cincinnati continues to adjust their school schedule. We'll monitor this closely. Other contract revenue, we have decreasing by 6% from $2,030,000 in the 2020 budget to $1,901,000 in the 2021 budget, as we have adjusted for the delay in Butler County returning to service due to COVID. Non-transportation revenue is decreasing by 65% from $2,150,000 in the 2020 budget to $747,000 in the 2021 budget due to the lower interest rate environment for our investment income, as well as lower advertising revenue due to COVID. is new for the 2021 budget. This is being compared to the previous city transit fund since the sales tax replaced the city earnings tax. This is increasing by 55% from $53,900,000 in the 2020 budget to $83,779,000 in the 21 budget. State subsidies. Due to COVID and the constraints it has put on the state of Ohio's budget, we anticipate that the state subsidies will be reduced by 43% from $2,955,000 in the 2020 budget to $1,675,000 for 2021. Now looking at expenses. Employee wages and benefits, we show are increasing by 14% from $79,922,000 in the 2020 budget to $90,774,000 in the 21 budget due to increased medical care costs of 7%, as well as the cost of additional operators, maintenance personnel, and staff needed to roll out Reinventing Metro. Fuel and lubricants decreasing by 8% from $5,570,000 in the 20 budget to $5,103,000 in the 21 budget due to the lower cost of fuel per gallon from the previous year. Parts and supplies, we show increasing by 25% from $5,856,000 in the 21 budget, in the 20 budget to $7,321,000 in the 21 budget due to the additional cost of COVID-related PPE, as well as additional parts needed to support the additional miles driven when additional services rolled out mid-year. The City Empowerment Fund is new for 2021 and part of the Reinventing Metro plan. And on the other, you see increasing by 79% from $9,098,000 to $16,241,000 in the 21 budget. This increase includes marketing campaigns, public meetings, consultants for the rollout of Reinventing Metro, as well as much-needed IT upgrades, amongst other things. Any questions on the operating budget before we move on to capital? Looking at the 21 capital budget and projections, we'll start off with the transportation. You will see how many buses we are scheduled to purchase over the next 5 years and the total purchase cost. You'll notice in 21 there's 40 buses due to the timing of the last 10 buses arriving in December of this year. The next line is the total amount of local funds we have set aside for the local match to grant already awarded, followed by how much local funds are still needed for grants awarded or anticipated to be awarded. As you will see, we have set aside $16,618,000 in local funds for bus grants, but we still need an additional $10,538,000 for years 2023 to 2025. Paratransit, you'll see a similar picture as with the fixed route buses. We have set aside $352,000 in local funds for paratransit vehicle grants, which is sufficient for 21 and 22, but we still need an additional $483,000 for years 23 through 25 in local match grants. Infrastructure, we broke infrastructure into the categories shown: facility upgrades, BRT development, computer equipment and software, park and ride development, mechanical equipment, and other. In 2021, SORTA will need $12,415,000 to fund these infrastructure projects, which are all part of the Reinventing Metro plan and the strategic plan. As you will see, we have set aside $23,544,000 for local funds for infrastructure projects, which covers 21 and part of 2022. But we still need an additional $64,146,000 for years 22 through 25. We'll continue to aggressively apply for grant funds now and in the future to cover the capital deficit in the future. Any questions on this slide?
Michelle, is it reasonable to expect in this uncertain environment and current circumstances that you guys will reforecast this budget as we move forward? Monthly, quarterly? What's the plan? Monthly, quarterly, what?
Absolutely. We plan on doing it quarterly, and that's something that's new for us, and we will be rolling it out starting in January internally for quarterly with the board.
Yeah. We all are there. I get it.
Yes, we absolutely have to this year. We have to be very prudent with every dollar we receive.
Yep. Great.
And on slide 8, you'll see the capital funded projections. Taking the capital needs shown in the previous slide, this shows where we have committed local funds by year. In 2021, we are using $8,758,000 from the sales tax revenue. We anticipate we'll receive approximately $9 million from the City Transit Fund true-up in early 2021. That is just an estimate at this time. We have not received final numbers from the city yet. We have reserved bus match of $6,964,000 for 2021, an additional capital reserve of $6,267,000 from the 2020 sales tax revenue, for total local match capital funds available in the amount of $30,989,000, of which $19,555,000 will be used in 2021, and $11,434,000 will be used in 2022. Any questions on the budget, operating, or capital?
I think this is very clear and really appreciate the time you guys have spent in putting this together, and also just, want to just acknowledge the incredible work that was also done. That good news slide it's pretty impressive what's been accomplished this year. So huge kudos to Michelle, you and your team, and the rest of the Metro team for accomplishing so much in a crazy year, and really appreciate the kind of focus and the dedication you guys have to developing a strong budget for 2021.
It's been a challenging year, and we have a great team, so I'm very thankful for that.
Anybody else have questions or anything they want to add around the budget before we move to the vote?
I'm just looking forward to next year not hearing the word unfavorable variance 18,000 times.
Me too.
I can second that. Awesome. I would like to make a motion to approve the proposed resolution for the approval of the 2021 budget.
Second.
Great. Motion has been approved. Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say right. Any abstentions? Moving on to, I believe it's item number 5, the proposed resolution for the approval of the contract for the 2021 property insurance.
Thank you, Heidi. We are seeking approval of a resolution to execute a 1-year renewal of the current 12-month policy that expires on December 31st, 2020 with Continental Casualty Company, also known as CNA, on behalf of SORTA for property insurance for the period of January 2021 through December 2021, at a cost not to exceed $146,381. So last month, as you recall, we put forward our general liability policy. This is an update for the timing of the property insurance and excessive workers' comp policies, which renew at year-end. 2021 risk management program, just a quick reminder, covers our general liability, our automobile liability, public officials liability, cyber liability, and crime. All of those were renewed last month. This discussion today is for excess workers' compensation and property coverage. And just the policy, these are two individual standalone policies, the property and excessive workers' comp. 2021 renewal has been very challenging given the current environment. The property market has been what I would call brutal in most ways. We saw a 47% increase. However, 30% of that is due to market. I'll go over the details of that in a little bit. Our property insurance cost in 2020 was $99,823, with $22,909 was allocated to the RTC. So excess workers' comp was $100,350, and our workers' commission last year was $61,785,000, for a total cost of SORTA of $239,049. 2021, the property insurance, we're seeing a significant increase. The actual market increase is 30%. With $29,782 allocated to the RTC, so SORTA's premium cost would be $116,599. We were able to save some money on our excess workers' compensation, taking it down to $65,250 is our premium, a reduction of 35% there. And our broker's commission was reduced to $33,000. Since we joined the Ohio Transit Risk Pool, they are no longer placing our general liability policy. So the 2021 SORTA total amount is $214,849. Looking at the property insurance, we see a 47% overall premium increase, total cost. 30% is market rate increase to the catastrophic events in 2020, the hurricanes, wildfires, and floods that are significantly impacting the insurance industry. Also, our total property values increased 13% due to the Northside Transit Center and the addition of new buses. The flood deductible for the RTC remains at $1 million. All other locations remain at $100,000. When we took this to market, we only received 2 competitive quotes. All other carriers have declined to put any type of quote in place. The Ohio Transit Risk Pool came in at $216,000, and the most competitive alternative was Liberty Mutual at approximately $150,000. The excess workers' comp, we saw a 35% overall premium decrease due to the increasing the self-insured retention from $550,000 to $750,000. We have a strong claims history, never even using our excess workers' comp policy to date. We've come close to using it, but have not actually hit the deductible at any time. And we are changing carriers as a way to reduce costs. Any questions on the insurance renewals?
Did they decline to quote because of what they deemed high risk?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. And just the market in general, I would spend a lot of time with our broker, and he was shopping it every way he could, and a lot of it was just the market in general is so terrible this year because of the amount of significant property damage around the entire country.
Any other questions? Michelle, I appreciate you working hard to find some cost savings in there with workers' comp and other things to really try to reduce the burden of the cost. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the approval of the contract for 2021 property insurance.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right. Any abstentions? Okay. Chanel, let's put that on the consent agenda for next week. Okay, will do. Thank you. Next up, Dave, who's going to talk about approval of an extension for billboard advertising and leasing agreement with Lamar Advertising. Welcome, Dave.
Good morning. Hopefully this technology works. I'm working from home this week. I'm here to ask for approval of a resolution authorizing the CEO, General Manager, or Secretary, Treasurer, CFO to execute a 5-year contract extension with one 5-year option with Lamar Advertising for the period covering January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2025. As you are probably aware, we own considerable property along the rail rights-of-way known as the Oasis and Blue Ash lines. On that property are billboards that are managed for us by Lamar Advertising, and we receive revenue from their leasing of that, and we also get revenue from their selling of the advertising. We have structured this revenue agreement so that we get a guaranteed fixed dollar amount or a percentage of their sales, whichever is greater. So we do have protection there in terms of the amount of money that we receive. Due to COVID-19, they have proposed reducing the overall guaranteed revenue amount by $6,000 a year. but they recognize that hopefully the economy will recover, and so after the second year of this new contract, they will increase the dollar amount back to the original amount. So we're only granting them a $6,000 decrease annually for the first 2 years. I will tell you that we have always, even during COVID, received more from the revenue based on the percentage of sales than the guarantee. So this really is a kind of a win for us, and not any kind of a liability at all, unless the economy totally tanks. But I think we're going to see it recover based on the advent of a vaccine, and it certainly can't get. I don't think it can get any worse based on what we've seen economically so far.
Great, thanks, Dave. Does anybody have any questions?
We didn't bid this out, right? We're happy with Lamar, is that what?
Well, they're probably on the property.
Speaking from my perspective, we have basically no work that we do with them other than collect the money that they send us on a monthly basis. They manage and maintain all of the billboards themselves. They put up and take down all the advertising. They're subject to our advertising policy, so there aren't any controversial ads or anything that we have to be concerned about from that perspective. So I've been happy. Now I've only been managing this contract. This will be the first time that I've actually brought this to the SORTA board. If anyone else has any perspective from past dealings with them, I would ask them to weigh in.
Yeah, more was the question is there a different or better deal from somebody else?
Well, it's my understanding from the way billboard advertising and the ordinances that govern those are written is if Lamar is not the advertiser, those billboards go away because they've all been grandfathered into most of those locations. The city and many other of the near municipalities have actually outlawed public advertising in the public right-of-way. So if we were to sever this contract with Lamar, it's my understanding that there will be no advertising on those properties, and we will lose any of the revenue that we're receiving.
That makes it easier.
Any other questions for Dave? Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the extension for billboard advertising leasing with Lamar Advertising.
Second.
Thank you, Rod. The motion's been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say right. Any abstentions? Okay. Chanel, let's put that on the consent agenda as well. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the next one, tab 8 is a proposed resolution for the approval of the service contract with Claremont County. Ben, I have you on my agenda.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. I believe that's the one. This is Claremont County. I believe Butler County is the first one I have for you this morning. The first resolution. No problem. I have 3 of them for you. So the first resolution is.
If you want, whatever's easiest for you, you can do all 3, if that's okay with Chanel and the meeting gods. Or if you want to do 1 at a time, whatever works best for you.
And I'll leave it up to you. It's all good. I'll start with the first one here, and we'll see how it goes. The first one is a resolution seeking authorization to execute a 1-year contract with Butler County. This agreement is to continue providing the Route 42 Express service, which operates between Westchester and downtown Cincinnati. The contract has a total expenditure of $594,871. It will be funded by Butler County's federal 5307 funds, and the agreement is currently pending approval from the SORTA board. Once approved, it will go back to Butler County for their approval and signature.
This contract also carries an 18% overhead.
I'll move on to Claremont County, I believe is the next one. This resolution is is seeking authorization to execute a one-year contract with Claremont County. This agreement is to continue providing the Route 82 Express, which operates between Eastgate and downtown Cincinnati. It also covers the portion of the Route 29X that operates within Claremont County, and that serves Milford to downtown Cincinnati. This contract has a total expenditure of $582,086 and will be funded by Claremont County's federal 5307 funds. And the agreement is currently pending signature from SORTA, and once approved, will go back to the Claremont County Commissioners for their approval and signature. And the last one is Warren County. This resolution is seeking authorization to execute a one-year contract with Warren County. This agreement is to continue providing the Route 71 Express, which operates between the Kings Island and Mason area to downtown Cincinnati. And this contract has a total revenue value of $422,480 and will be funded by Warren County's federal 5307 funds. This agreement has already been approved by Warren County. It's already signed and is pending SORTA board approval.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions about these contracts with the outlying counties? Okay, great. Then can I do a motion for all three, Chanel?
Yes.
Beautiful. What I would like to do then is to make a motion that we approve the contracts, the service contracts for Butler, Claremont, and Warren counties.
Second.
Thank you, Ron. With that second, I'd like to, if you are in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say right. Any abstentions? Okay, great. And we just move those to the consent agenda for the board meeting.
Will do.
Okay, so yeah, everything should be on consent with the exception of the 2021 budget. I'd like to pull that out so that we can have a board discussion if needed.
Okay.
Any other logistics for the board meeting you need from me, Chanel?
No, I think we're all good for the finance committee.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. It's been a lovely day at the finance committee. Again, really appreciate all the work that's gone into the 2021 budget and everything moving forward. So thank you all. And I will turn it over to Mr. Cole.
Work from home time, folks. Hi, everybody.
I really appreciate the hat flip around.
Thanks. I didn't. Yeah, I looked at myself in the camera of that little screen. I'm like, oh hell. Are we ready to begin?
Yes. Sorry, Brandon.
I will. Thank you. I was kind of watching to see when the meeting ended. Why don't you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and pick one. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right. We have an agenda, don't we? All right, so right in front of you, I think the first thing is to do an approval of the minutes from November the 10th. You can see who was here for that. Looks like all of us were here for that, so would welcome a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
I heard a motion.
If I may, real quick, I think when I was looking at these earlier, there might need to be a couple of corrections. At the top, it has October on it.
Are those the October minutes, actually?
No, Brendan, these are actually the November minutes. The date up top is wrong. I actually believe I attached the wrong draft. So
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Is that the only change, Blake?
That's what I saw. Just
Eagle-eyed Blake Etheridge today. Thank you very much. With a friendly amendment to change the date of these minutes, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. John Ravasio is going to give us some good news. Hello, Gwen. Nice to see you.
Good morning, everyone. Great things happen in the Planning and Ops meeting, as always. Let's kick it over to Brandy for a few updates about the NTC and feedback from our customers.
Good morning, everyone. As you all know, the Northside Transit Center opened in October, and we could not wait to make everyone aware of it and share all the good news about the exciting amenities that the center offers and encourage everyone to give us a try because we all know that, after all, riding is believing. So we created a marketing campaign to accomplish those goals, and it includes digital and static billboards that hopefully many of you have seen up around town. They are placed around 7 prominent locations in the vicinity of the transit center, letting everyone know that it is now open. We've also implemented digital online geofencing ads. So if you've ever engaged with Metro in any way, in your online shopping for Christmas things, you're probably going to see a billboard pop up saying, hey, did you hear about Metro's Northside? And click here to get a free ride to give us a try. And so we're just making ourselves everywhere we can to increase awareness. We've also sent out direct mailers to 5 surrounding neighborhoods that are near the center to let everyone in the area know that the center is there and available for their use, as well as a guerrilla marketing effort. So we have produced coffee sleeves, drink coasters, bumper stickers, and much more that we are providing to local coffee shops, restaurants, and businesses throughout the area so that they can use in their stores, provide to their customers, and just showing how Metro is very connected into the Northside community and how our presence there in this new center is improving the neighborhood overall. Next slide, please. We also took part in a Thanksgiving social media campaign this past month, and I wanted to include a couple of the comments that campaign garnered from our customers, just to kind of share a reminder of just how much Metro service impacts so many people's lives. We had so many great comments from folks when we asked them what are they most thankful for, and many of them shared that they are thankful that Metro service continues to operate. It helps them get to their jobs 7 days a week, and without our service, they would not be able to do those sort of things. It connects them to their family and to what matters most. So this is just a reminder that the work that you all do as our board members and our staff does every day impacts so many real people in very real ways. Next slide. John.
Okay, thanks, Brandy. My new favorite slogan is guerrilla marketing. I thought that was pretty cool, right? So the holidays are upon us. We just had St. Nick's Day. For those of you who celebrate, I hope you found some good things in your stocking. We do big things at Metro. So we do Christmas time gifts and gifts this time of year in a very big way. So we're going to need a big stocking for these 10 brand new shiny buses arriving this month. They come equipped with all the customer amenities and security barriers that we've been putting on the most recent iterations of the fleet. This includes an operator security barrier that is the kind of the 2018 prototype that we tested and got operator feedback on. In this day and age, certainly with the pandemic, driver security, particularly in the cabin area, is paramount. So we will have the upgraded factory installed security barriers on this fleet. And backed by popular demand, the stealth windows on the buses, very popular, looking good. Next slide, please. It's also a fun time of year to spread holiday cheer in the community. We participated in the annual Norwood Police Shop with the Cop event on December 5th. We're always happy to partner with the Norwood Police and the citizens there for a very festive, fun event. Our 12 Days of Christmas social media giveaway begins December 14th. I hope you're bringing your trivia A game like I am this year. I'm out to win something. I need some stocking stuffers, some Metro holiday ornaments, Metro passes. Make great gifts this time of year. Next slide, please. So with the new year upon us, it's out with the old, in with the new. Welcome Jennifer Jackson, our new Director of Labor Relations. Jennifer joins us from the Cleveland RTA, where she's worked in their legal department since 2007. She brings a great deal of experience, a very exciting and new voice in terms of labor relations here. Very much looking forward to her perspective. So, Jennifer, welcome. Everybody, introduction to Jennifer. Jennifer, if you're on, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Should know I was going to ask her to plug in there. Very prompt. Well done.
I like a director of labor relations who is of a few words. Only say what needs to be said.
Economy of words.
Nice to meet you.
I'm not sure how the old Director of Labor Relations should take that, but next slide, please.
It's John, for the record.
Everybody, that's the news. This is where I've got to get like my newscaster paper end of the broadcast kind of feature there, right? Thanks, everybody.
Things are getting a little funny here at the last meeting of the year. All right. Thank you, John. Who's doing ridership, Matt?
Yes, sir. I am here. We'll talk about some ridership for the month of November. Total ridership was 511,177. That's about 46% lower than our original forecast. Of those, the majority were on our local routes, which is just under 500,000 rides. Our express service was about 11,800 rides. And year-to-date total ridership is 6.8 million. That's about 41% below our original projections. And similarly to previous months, it's important to note that our original projections also included full CPS service. And as you know, they've been in a blended model for most of the year and went fully remote on November 23rd.
Matt, did you figure out how to show us what the numbers would have looked like if we had full CPS?
Sure, I think you missed it last month. We did have some numbers for you. I can tell you that if CPS had been in service fully as expected on a normal year, our ridership would have been about 200,000 rides higher than what it was in November, again, assuming back to a normal year. So we would have only been down about 25% or so.
Got it. So a person who is just a customer who is either riding by choice or riding because they don't have other means of transportation, a non-student, we've lost about 25% of those still at the end of the year. Is that right?
For the month of November, that's correct, yes.
You know, and all in all, everything you read across what's going on in the country, that's a better number. It's not a great number, but it's a better number than what you're seeing in some other parts of the I see Daryl's nodding. But you read that there was an article, which I'll get to in a minute, in the New York Times over the weekend about transit ridership down. We are faring a little better in that regard in terms of our ridership being down. Once CPS comes back, our numbers, will look a lot healthier, I think.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on, got a few KPIs for you this month. Our passengers per hour on local service 9.7. That's about 11 below our budget of 20.7. And passengers per trip on express service was 2.6. That's 13.6 below our budget of 16.2. The average weekday ridership was just under 21,000 rides every weekday. Saturdays was just under 12,000, and Sunday service averaged about 7,400 rides. And moving on to our missed trips for the month of November, total missed trips was 586. Of those, 500 of them were due to no operator being available, which is 85% of missed trips, and Metro operated 99% of our regularly scheduled trips. And moving on to paratransit. Access ridership for November was 7,393 rides, and that's about 59% below original forecasts. 6,776 of those took place on weekdays, and Saturdays and Sundays were just about evenly split, just over 300 rides each. And year-to-date, access ridership is 94,994. That's about 55.5% below original forecasted numbers. And that is the ridership report.
Thank you. All right. We are going to roll through some resolutions here. The first three, I believe. Well, let's just go through them one at a time. It looks like Jeff Munstock is here to talk about the first wrecker and towing services every year or every few years.
Yeah, this is a renewal for a 3-year contract. Seeking approval for renewal for a 3-year contract not to exceed $280,000 with Schaefer Towing. They are the incumbent. The previous contract did not include access. Well, due to us taking over access, this does include access, so it is slightly higher than the previous 3-year contract. This contract will start February 2021 through February 2024. There was only one participant in the procurement process, Schaefer Towing, that does qualify as an SBE participant. We did reach out to other local towing companies and kind of requesting why they didn't participate. Most of them said they do not want to do the 24-hour service, which is what we need, especially with reinventing Metro. More buses going to be on the road at night. We can't have buses on the side of the road with flat tires, this, that, and the other. So, any questions on this one?
I have no questions. I will move it, and if there's a second, then we can get it to the point where we discuss it.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, discussion? Fairly simple. Let's hope we don't need it a lot now. We have all of these new buses, and so hopefully they'll run quite well. We won't need to call Schaefer's.
That's correct.
I'm going to do a voice vote to put that on the consent agenda. Is that how that works?
Yes, that is correct. Or you can do them all at once at the end. It's your preference.
Do a voice vote to move that to the consent agenda. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same right. All right, great. All right, next one. Valley View Tower land lease renewal.
Yeah, this is seeking approval of to execute a second 5-year option with Duke Energy. The original 20-year contract began in September of 1996 through August of 2016, and the original contract had 6 5-year options. This is executing the second of the 5-year options. Was originally, or the previous contract was $1,000 a month. It has increased to $1,050 a month, totaling in $63,000 for the entire 5-year contract. That is about it on this one. There's not a whole lot to go with it. Duke Energy owns the property. We don't have a whole lot of options to lease with anybody else. So, any questions on this?
A whole $50 extra a month. Wow.
That's right.
Looks fine. Okay, great. So I'll move to approve this. Take a second.
Second.
Great. Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of moving this to the consent agenda at our board meeting next week, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, same rate. All right. Next one. Delhi Park and Ride.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We've maintained the park and ride at the Delhi Plaza for about 20 years. We've been utilizing about 36 spaces, and just want to renew that agreement with Delhi, still maintaining 36 parking spaces at a monthly cost of $13 per space. That cost hasn't changed. It's still the same old cost. So the staff request from or ask from the board to approve a resolution authorizing the CEO, general manager, or CFO to execute 1-year lease agreement with Delhi Plaza for a total of $5,616 for 1 year agreement. I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Seems pretty self-explanatory and non-controversial, so let's go ahead and let's take a second.
Second.
And thank you. Any questions or discussions? Okay. All those in favor of moving this to the consent agenda at next week's board meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. We are rocking through this. I think, who's doing this one? Is it Khaled again?
Yes. All right, so the approval of right-of-way consultant contract. As most of you, if not all of you, are aware that back in the mid-90s, SORTA acquired the rail right-of-way, both the Oasis line and the Blue Ash line. And the reason for acquiring those, as you know, when we submitted for the grant to FDA, is for these corridors to be used for multimodal usage, basically mixing transit use with whatever else, whether it's bike or new developments, and providing transit services to them and so on. Unfortunately, nothing was done in that regards for many years, and in fact, and FDA wasn't very happy about that because basically it's their money. And in fact, in 2008, FDA sent a letter to SORTA demanding some action on the right of way, and either basically do something with it as was agreed on, or get rid of it, sell it. Again, unfortunately, nothing was done in that regard since 2008. And FDA has been, continuously pounding on us to take care of that matter. And so, in communications with FDA, we told them that we're going to bring in a consultant who will evaluate the rail right of way, look at basically what we have, the assets, the liabilities that we have in all that, and give us options. What is the best scenario for us as an agency moving forward with the right of way? Whether is there potential to keep it and use it for rail, for transit? Is there potential for development with developers or some other third parties? Just keep the status quo and keep paying for maintaining it and repairing bridges, or sell it, or just give it to some other public agency, or whatever else that the consultants may propose. And for each of these recommendations or options, the consultant will not only give a description of the scenario or the recommendation, but also describe it. Also include what are the risks associated with each of these options, what are the financial and fiscal implications with each of these proposed options, and so on. So we did put out an RFP about a month or so ago. We did get 3 good proposals from 3 strong firms. The AECOM scored the highest technically. Their price was right in the middle, which was also a fair cost. And so we come to you here, seeking your approval of a resolution authorizing the CEO, general manager, or the CFO to execute a 6-month contract with AECOM to carry out this study. Total cost will not exceed $211,996. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Let's do this. Let's get a motion. I'll move this, and if we get a second, then we can have questions and discussions on it. Moved.
Second.
Great. Colin, thank you. Let me just maybe offer a couple of quick comments on this. In now almost 6 years on the board, we've talked a lot about the rail right-of-ways that we've owned, some of us, and I would encourage all of you to ask to do this at some point. The administration does a great job with a little tour of all of the rail lines that we own, and you will be surprised about how far up into the county they go, all the way up into some places in Blue Ash and places that you would not know existed, which is always fun if you are a train geek, I think is the technical term for what they're called, and I would gladly admit to being one from time to time. The tracks that we own in big picture were purchased to do various light rail projects and improve transit, and for various reasons, that hasn't happened yet at this in our region. We are on the cusp of doing something big with reinventing Metro now that we have the funding. And this board has for a long time asked the administration to make sure that we have a kind of cohesive, big picture strategy about what we should do with this property. Already, this board has approved on I think multiple occasions using a piece of land that we own that was former rail line that kind of tracks along Dana Avenue and goes up over Victory Parkway to become part of the Wasson Way Trail, which would be a multimodal use for our system. It's really incredible that we would be able to have a bus stop at either end or along the way, so that residents and bus riders can interchangeably move off of the trail and onto a bus system. As you know, all of our buses have bike racks on the front. So that's a great example of being creative about how we use these pieces of land to improve our system. One last piece that I think is important, the administration has also dealt with the FTA on similar considerations around the Riverfront Transit Center. And Daryl and team have done a really great job. By the way, this is a huge accomplishment that in the midst of everything that happened over the last year was kind of missed. You know, it's been a year. We're now, since Blink, using the Riverfront Transit Center in a way that we should be really proud of. We're moving people in and out of downtown by using that incredible facility down there. That was an example of being able to go back to the FTA and say, see how we are using this for transit. So there are a couple of other opportunities that we've talked about, big picture, when it comes to multimodal connections to our transit system that I think are priorities that this board has already indicated its preference for. But we have a lot more right-of-way when it comes to rail that we should have a really good assessment of. What are the risks of holding it? What are the opportunities for us? What are the possibilities that we could use this land to do? And does it make sense for us to have some pieces of it? There could be pieces of it that we might decide are valuable to someone else. So overall, this seems like the right thing to do. We've been asking for this for a long time, and it'll be nice for the board and future boards to have a nice roadmap to go forward to say, okay, we've evaluated all of our rail, and this is our plan. Nothing that we're doing here reverses what we've already committed to do when it comes to the projects that are connecting Wasson and potentially even Oasis, so a part of Oasis. So let me stop there and see if there's any questions. This has been something that some of us who have been on for some time now have been involved with. I think Craig, Chairman Cassie, and I first met on a tour of the Oasis line 6 years ago and have fond memories of trying to understand this. So let me stop and see if there's any questions for Daryl or Colette or anyone.
Brendan, how much did we pay for it in 1990s, and how much do we think the value is now?
I'm not sure what the value is now. It cost us a little under $10 million. It was paid for with 100% federal money, other than $1 million that was paid by the rail line, which has changed hands about 3 times since it was originally purchased.
And under the terms of the federal money, were we supposed to do something within a time period, or what's the FTA's leverage on us?
The FTA's leverage is they paid for it for transit purposes. At the time, we were talking about passenger rail. The FTA, I've had several conversations with the FTA. They're interested in us using this property for transit or to do something with it if we're not going to use it for passenger rail. I've had several conversations with the FTA. They are very comfortable with where we are right now to put together a plan for these pieces of property. We believe strongly that a lot of this property can be used for its intended purposes, for transit-related, multimodal, possibly for BRT. So this organization will take a strong look at it. It'll take a strong look at the original contracts between us and the rail. They're also talking to developers, so we can take back a plan to the FTA that they will approve us to move forward for this property. And we believe a lot of this property will have transit use.
Pete, and I would just say one of the things that we've talked about in this room many times is we don't know how much this is worth right now, and doing this project is a really important endeavor in finding that out. So this will help us in many ways.
One of the other things, to be clear, because it was paid for with federal dollars, if it's sold for anything, if it's sold to another entity, those dollars, the value of those dollars have to go back to the FTA. Although we could ask FTA if we could use those dollars for another project, and the FTA could approve that.
Thank you, dear. I was going to ask that question. We would, the money would come to us automatically. Brenda, just a question, and it may have been answered years and years ago. You and I served on a committee, and there was this, we owned, we were trying to get the property or something, and the train, I want to believe the corporation wanted to use the property. It's been sitting vacant for a long time.
That's the. Do you want me to go, or you want to keep talking? Yeah. So that piece is big picture. The Oasis Trail, which is what we're talking about, the Oasis line. It's not really a trail, but the Oasis line. That starts down near Ted Berry International Friendship Park, and really snakes all the way out to, how far does it go?
Out to Lunken Airport.
Lunken Airport, and I think there it joins up with something else. But essentially, the piece from Lunken to downtown is the piece that we've talked about to be part of the multimodal system, because there's so many different places where you could hook up the bus lines with bikes. And the issue there has been that the rail company that owns, we own the land and we own the north track. There's 2 tracks. We own the north track. The rail company has an easement to be able to use the north track to be able to access its south track, where it runs a train anywhere from 2 times to 4 times a week, depending on who you talk to or who you believe. And so that piece of it has been a long-standing conversation about for bikes. And I think this project will help us assess whether that's a possibility. But there have been ongoing conversations with that rail company and with other interests about making that project happen. That's something that the board has supported through resolution, I think, a couple of times.
Right. Thank you, Brendan. I just wondered if we ever resolved that.
I hope, and I will tell you. I mean, I am not shy about this in this board. If you have not yet been to what's happened at Wasson Way, and we have not had a role in that so much as because the pieces that they've developed already have not been pieces that we had an interest in. But if you have been from where Xavier is now all the way into Alt Park, that's now a almost 2 mile trail, 2.5 mile trail that will go further into Alt Park. And importantly, the year after that, when we partner, we'll go into Avondale. That is going to be, I promise, one of the most well-known and urban trails in the United States of America. And it's going to connect neighborhoods and job centers, UC all the way out east to Xavier and Hyde Park and Marymount and beyond. And it's going to be the kind of thing that I think our community will be really proud of. And importantly, for us, as we're expanding our bus network, there are so many places along there where our bus lines intersect. So you'll be able to come from another place and get on a bus line, which is what we want people to do, or get off a bus line and then recreate and get to your spot. So it's just an enormous win for the region. And by the way, these trails long term will go out to the county, and we should be really proud of that.
Thank you for that. No, thank you.
Brendan, this is a great conversation because it's so important for people to see us doing something different to get different results. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect people to look at us differently. So this is really cool.
I can tell you the FTA is very excited about this move to really evaluate the rail right away and use it for multimodal purposes, and to really look at the contracts from the 90s to see so it's property that it's not just an expense to us. So we're really excited about moving forward with this as well.
Any other questions or comments? Could I hear Craig, maybe?
You did. I sent out a map to everybody, a PDF map of where those rail lines go. Just so I just sent it during the meeting, so it'll help you. It helps look at it. It does cover about 30. You're on mute.
I would encourage you to not go venturing out onto those tracks by yourself. A SORTA administration person would gladly get in the metro vehicle and take you. We don't want you traipsing around our rail lines just to explore.
The hand car's not bad.
It's like the movie Stand By Me, one of the great movie train scenes.
Thank you, Brendan. I would not like them out venturing on the rail line. Thank you.
You not want a board member being running from a moving train. All right. Enough. Any other questions on this? Making sure folks understand. All right. Tremendous. All those. We can put this on. We'll put this on the consent too. But if there's any questions, we can talk about it at the board meeting. But all those in favor of moving this to the consent agenda at the board meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
Brendan, I think that the discussion we had should be known to the entire board. The new people on the board that are not familiar with our involvement or engagement with the project. I think we need to have some historical discussion.
Agreed. Chanel, we'll keep that off the consent agenda then. So just edit that, put
Right.
this one on its passage itself.
Right, because it has some long-term impacts for us. And so I think we really need to have a historical understanding of it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, you were going to talk, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, all I was going to say was last time we used AECOM, there was a whole bunch of social media comments about using our friends to do this thing. I want to be on record, and I don't think anybody at this board knows anybody at AECOM. So they've won this bid fair and square.
Correct. As I said earlier, just for record again, we had three good firms, and what the proposal being reviewed by a committee. AECOM scored the highest technically, and the cost was there right in the middle. So it was a process. And thank you.
Yeah, they're out of my range, so I don't have any relationship.
And to be clear, I mean, I will say the work that they did with us on reinventing Metro was really tremendous, and it is. I know
Right.
it's something they are proud of, and we are too. It's the plan that we're following. So thanks for that, Greg. All right. Anything else on? I can't see the agendas. I think that was it, wasn't it? An adjournment. We did have a very controversial vote on a motion to adjourn. All those. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you next week. But
I want you to see my shirt. If you can see what it says.
stay at home. All right. We will do that. We are almost through this year, and next year.
Right.